Have you ever felt a gaze so heavy it woke you from a dead sleep? You find something standing at the foot of your bed, just smiling in the dark. This is our first introduction to the terrifying entity known as the Grinning Man. Is he a humanoid, a strange cryptid, or perhaps a visitor from another world? Some witnesses claim he is a man in black, lurking within the fringes of ufology. Whether called Indred Cold or an alien, his reputation for nocturnal home invasions is notorious. He doesn't come to steal or harm, but simply to watch you while you sleep. Imagine waking to a figure like a statue made of meat and reflective metal. In the quiet of Point Pleasant, Keel documented the rising dread of this presence. The Mothman was not the only shadow haunting the residents during that dark time. Woodro Darrenburgger's life changed forever after meeting this wide-smiling stranger on a lonely road. The encounter felt like a waking dream, blurring the lines of reality and sleep paralysis. Why is his expression frozen in that unsettling, toothy grin as he stares at you? What happens when the thing hiding under the bed finally stops hiding and stands tall? He is a humanoid enigma who defies classification, appearing when you are most vulnerable. His presence brings a heavy silence, punctuated only by the rhythmic ticking of a clock. Across decades of reports, the Grinning Man remains one of the most persistent paranormal mysteries. Is he a psychological manifestation or a physical intruder from a different dimension altogether? This isn't just a shadow in the corner of your eye that vanishes with light. We are stepping into a world where the smile is the most dangerous part. We are often told that monsters disappear once we grow up and the shadows are light tricks. But for some unlucky souls, the Bogeyman did not stay locked inside the dusty childhood closet. This is not just another campfire story told to frighten children on a dark summer night. Does a monster stop being a myth when it begins to leave a chilling paper trail? Our childhood fears often refuse to age, lingering like a heavy gaze in the dark. We once believed that turning on the lights would banish the creatures under our beds. However, reports from around the world suggest a far more persistent and terrifying reality. Why does this specific smiling face appear across different continents and through various decades? In the shadows of ufology, this entity takes on many different and disturbing forms. Some witnesses describe a tall humanoid, while others swear they encountered a strange alien visitor. This Grinning Man is often categorized as a cryptid stalking the edges of our perception. The mystery deepens as he is frequently linked to the enigmatic and threatening men in black. Whether called a humanoid or a phantom, his presence remains a chilling constant in modern lore. In the quiet town of Point Pleasant, the legend of the Grinning Man truly took root. It was here that investigators like Keel first documented the presence of Indred Cold. This name, Indred Cold, would soon become synonymous with the terror of the Mothman sightings. Witnesses like Woodro Darrenburgger described encounters that felt as visceral as a physical blow. Some wonder if these sightings are merely the terrifying products of a bout of sleep paralysis. Yet, the consistency of the details suggests something much more tangible than a simple bad dream. This specific entity transcends simple classification, blending the lines between the alien and the supernatural. We find ourselves questioning if the shadows we feared as children were actually watching us. To understand this deep-seated fear, we must now examine the anatomy of this waking nightmare. Let's strip away the shadows and look at what witnesses actually describe when the lights go up. Imagine a man 7 feet tall, with shoulders so broad they block out the hallway light. This towering figure looms over his witnesses, reaching a height that defies normal human proportions. His frame is described as incredibly muscular, possessing a strength that feels inherently threatening to anyone nearby. Within the world of ufology, this mysterious figure is often identified by the name Indred Cold. His shoulders are like a linebacker, but his face is something else, entirely a frozen, pale mask. Could a human even look like this? Or is he something far more alien to our world? The top of his head is completely smooth, being entirely devoid of hair from brow to neck. This hairless appearance gives him a polished, artificial quality that deeply unnerves those who see him. His face is dominated by a wide, inhuman grin that never seems to fade or even flicker. This smile does not convey joy. Instead, it looks like a permanent fixture carved into his flesh. Woodro Darrenburgger famously described this unsettling expression during his terrifying encounter on a dark West Virginia road. Moving closer to his gaze, witnesses noticed small, beady eyes set unnaturally wide apart on his face. These eyes lack the warmth of a person, staring with a cold intensity that feels purely predatory. Why would an entity choose such a specific, horrifying look to present to the world. His nose is remarkably shallow, barely rising from the flat plane of his pale, eerie face. This detail adds to the uncanny valley effect. A signature of the entity is often linked to the moth. Descriptions of Indred Cold suggest a creature struggling to mimic humanity, but failing in every visible way. He stands perfectly still, a giant in the darkness, waiting for the perfect moment to be noticed. Reports from Point Pleasant frequently mention this towering stranger lurking just out of sight near the woods. Unlike the typical men in black, his physical presence is far more imposing and physically massive. Every witness mentions that 7-foot stature first, a height that immediately commands fear and attention. It is the combination of these features that creates a sense of profound, instinctual wrongness. Some suggest his appearance is a byproduct of sleep paralysis, a mind-bending trick of the subconscious. Yet, the physical consistency of these accounts suggests something far more tangible than a simple dream. That wide, static grin remains the most haunting detail, burned into the memory of everyone involved. Beneath his strange clothes, his muscular physique suggests a power that is not of this earth. Researcher Keel documented these disturbing physical traits while investigating the bizarre events of the 60s. But his skin isn't the only thing that reflects the light in the dead of night. Now we must look at the metallic attire that makes his appearance truly otherworldly. Across the globe, one detail never changes. The suit is tight, one piece, and glares like tinfoil. Is it advanced armor or alien technology? And why wear something so visible if you are hiding? Imagine a diver's wetsuit made entirely of mercury, shimmering with an unnatural and blinding light. In 1966, 2 young boys learned exactly how brightly that strange, metallic suit could actually shine. It was a cold evening when they wandered near the shadows of a dark, looming highway overpass. The air felt heavy, thick with the kind of silence that usually precedes a terrifying encounter. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness, standing tall and motionless beneath a concrete structure. This was the first recorded sighting, a moment that would soon haunt the annals of ufology forever. The figure wore a shimmering green garment that looked like it was forged from common kitchen foil. Every movement of the stranger caused the reflective material to glint and sparkle against the dim light. It clung tightly to his frame, a single-piece uniform that defied any fashion known to that era. The boys froze in place, their eyes locked on the towering man who simply stood and watched. He did not move like a person, but rather like something waiting for a signal to act. This encounter predated the famous Mothman prophecies that would later grip the town of Point Pleasant. Famous researcher Keel would eventually link these bizarre suits to the legend of Indred Cold. Was this figure a scout for something larger? Or perhaps one of the infamous Men in Black? The absurdity of the shiny suit contrasted sharply with the genuine, visceral terror the boys felt. They described a presence so heavy, it felt like the weight of a waking sleep paralysis dream. Before they could scream, the looming figure shifted, its metallic skin catching the faint distant streetlights. That night under the highway changed their lives, marking the official arrival of the Grinning Man. Little did they know, a salesman named Woodro Darrenburgger would soon report an even busier meeting. The Grinning Man was no longer just a shadow. He was becoming a terrifying, tangible reality. In 1966, the world began to realize that the things in the dark were wearing uniforms. Why does the Grinning Man break the classic mold of the mysterious Men in Black? We know. We usually imagine these figures in dark, formalatir, stalking the edges of our shifting reality. Within the world of ufology, the Men in Black are traditionally defined by their somber appearance. Yet, witnesses describe the Grinning Man as a very different kind of humanoid visitor. He is often classified among these shadowy agents, yet his wardrobe tells a startlingly different story. Instead of woolen ties, he wears a strange, tight-fitting one-piece suit that demands attention. Imagine a garment so perfectly contoured it looks like a second skin under the flickering strip. This outfit does not absorb the light, but reflects it back with an unnatural, blinding intensity. Eyewitnesses frequently use a surprisingly humble term to describe this advanced, shimmering material. They call it tinfoil, a domestic analogy for a fabric that defies any easy explanation. Why would a being like Indred Cold choose such a glaring and conspicuous material to wear? This reflective tinfoil texture stands in sharp contrast to the stealthy black suits of legend. In the dark corners of Point Pleasant, These shimmering details became etched into the local memory. Keel noted that these domestic comparisons often hint at technologies beyond our current understanding. To a witness in the 60s, tinfoil was the closest reference for a high-tech sheen. This strange humanoid does not hide in the shadows. He seems to radiate an artificial glow. The tight-fitting one-piece suit suggests a functional purpose, perhaps related to his mysterious origins. Could this material be a form of protection or a component of some unknown advanced craft? While typical men in black blend in, the Grinning Man's appearance is purposefully and vibrantly alien. This glaring suit remains one of the most consistent and baffling details in every reported encounter. It challenges our perceptions of what these visitors are and where they truly come from. Every time a witness mentions that metallic glare, the mystery of the Grinning Man only deepens. Is it a uniform, a skin, or something entirely outside our common vocabulary of physical materials? Let's go back to the beginning. Elizabeth, New Jersey. On a cold October night in 1966, the clock struck 9:45 p.m. as the world prepared for a truly unsettling paranormal encounter. Two young boys, Martin Munov and James Yankaitis, were walking through the quiet, darkened streets. They found themselves directly beneath the massive, elevated structure of the New Jersey Turnpike. The heavy sound of traffic roared just 30 feet above their heads in the night air. Suddenly, they noticed a figure standing like a shimmering beacon in the deep highway shadows. It was a man wearing a one-piece suit that glared like reflective green tinfoil. This looming figure stood nearly 7 feet tall, watching the world with an eerie, silent intensity. The stranger was focused on a house situated approximately 200 meters away from the boys. He didn't move or speak, simply standing there in his glowing, metallic green uniform. But the boys weren't the only ones in town who had seen this strange, towering giant. Earlier that same evening, a local woman was reportedly chased by a huge man in green. Fear was spreading through Elizabeth as these bizarre reports began to reach the local authorities. Is it a coincidence that a UFO was spotted 40 miles north at this exact time? While the boys watched the figure, something mysterious was gliding through the sky far above. Renowned ufologist Keel soon arrived to document every detail of this harrowing event. He interviewed both Munov and Yankitas separately to see if their stories would hold up. Despite the isolation, both boys described the same reflective suit and that haunting, wide grin. Their accounts provided the first recorded evidence of a visitor that defied all rational explanation. Who watches a quiet house from the darkness while wearing a glowing, metallic green suit? This encounter in New Jersey marked the start of a legendary mystery in the world of ufology. But the boys weren't the only ones seeing strange things in the sky that night. If New Jersey was a fleeting sighting, West Virginia was about to become a face-to-face meeting. Less than a month later, the Grinning Man didn't just watch. He finally chose to speak. On the cold night of November 2nd, 1966, the mystery deepened near the town of Elizabeth. Woodro Darrenburgger, a hard-working sewing machine salesman, was driving home when his world suddenly shifted. While traveling along Interstate 77, a strange vehicle forced his car to a complete, rattling halt. A dark, charcoal-colored UFO hovered nearby, defying every known law of physics and conventional flight. From the craft stepped a man wearing a blue, reflective one-piece suit that shimmered like liquid metal. This vibrant blue outfit echoed the strange metallic clothing seen weeks earlier by witnesses in New Jersey. As the figure approached, Darrenburgger realized the stranger's lips were pressed into a frozen, eerie grin. The man didn't use his mouth to communicate, yet his words began echoing inside Woodrow's mind. What does it feel like to have a voice inside your head that clearly isn't yours? It was like a radio station suddenly tuning into a frequency you didn't even know you had. This invasive telepathic connection bypassed his ears, planting thoughts directly into the salesman's startled brain. With a chilling calmness, the smiling entity finally identified himself by a name: Indred Cold. You have to wonder, is Indred Cold a simple name, or is it actually a warning? Cold assured Darrenburgger that he meant no harm, yet the salesman felt a deep, primal dread. This strange encounter occurred exactly 2 weeks before the legendary Mothman sightings began in Point Pleasant. The timing suggests that the Grinning Man was merely the vanguard for a coming wave of terror. Within the circles of ufology, this meeting remains one of the most credible and unsettling accounts. For Woodro Darrenburgger, the silence of the West Virginia night would never feel truly empty again. The name Indred Cold would soon become a lingering curse for the entire Darrenburgger family. This meeting was just the beginning of a haunting that would eventually consume their quiet lives. While Woodro was meeting Indred Cold on the road, Linda Lilly was meeting him in her sanctuary. In Point Pleasant, the Lilly family endured strange poltergeist activity while the Mothman haunted the surrounding woods. Objects moved on their own as an invisible tension gripped their home during that cold, dark winter. On the night of December 14th, 1966, the atmosphere in Linda's bedroom turned inexplicably heavy and cold. Imagine waking up at exactly 1:45 a.m. to a rhythmic sound that chills your very soul. Before she even opened her eyes, a strange and rhythmic clicking sound echoed through the silent room. It sounded like a predator making a subtle noise, just to see if its prey was awake. Linda slowly sat up, her heart pounding against her ribs as she stared into the deep darkness. There, standing at the foot of her bed, was a figure that defied any logical or earthly explanation. A tall, imposing man stood watching her, his presence filling the small space with an icy dread. He did not speak or move, but his face was fixed in a wide and terrifying grin. It was the ultimate violation of safety, proving the gaze she felt in the intro was real. This was no simple dream, as Linda sat wide awake and paralyzed in her own bedroom. The grinning man simply stood there, his eyes locked onto hers with a piercing and inhuman intensity. How do you even begin to sleep again after seeing that monstrous face in your private room? Every shadow now looked like his silhouette, and every floorboard creak sounded like his footsteps returning. The clicking continued for a few moments, a mechanical noise that felt entirely alien and wrong. Why would an entity travel across dimensions just to stand and click at a sleeping girl? Famed researcher John Keel would later link this terrifying visit to the wider phenomenon in Point Pleasant. While some might suggest sleep paralysis, the physical evidence of poltergeists suggests something far more tangible. Whether he was Indred Cold or another phantom, the Grinning Man had made his presence known. The encounter left Linda Lilly forever changed, her bedroom no longer a place of peaceful rest. This chilling account remains one of the most personal and frightening testimonies in all of modern ufology. The clicking sound Linda heard in the dark, it was not an isolated incident. Have you ever heard a sound so out of place it made your blood run cold? In the realm of high strangeness, one specific noise often precedes the arrival of Indred Cold. It is not a heavy footstep or a ghostly whisper, but a sharp, mechanical, clicking sound. For witnesses like Linda Lilly, this metallic rhythm served as a terrifying herald of the Grinning Man. She described an odd clicking, echoing through her room just moments before the entity finally appeared. Imagine lying in the dark, hearing that distinct, repetitive tick-tick vibrating against the silence of the night. This was not a settling house or an old clock, but something deliberate and profoundly unsettling. Thousands of miles away in Scotland, Mary McRae encountered a nearly identical auditory nightmare. She awoke in the dead of night, finding herself completely paralyzed and struggling to catch her breath. As she fought against the crushing weight of sleep paralysis, a sharp clicking sound filled the room. This shared detail bridges the gap between different continents and entirely separate eyewitness accounts. Is this sound a physical byproduct of his presence, or a hallucination triggered by intense fear? Ufology experts often note these rhythmic noises as a sign of reality beginning to tear and warp. For McRae, the clicking felt as real as the suffocating pressure pinning her to the mattress. These accounts suggest that Indred Cold does not just appear. He announces his arrival with mechanical precision. The consistency between Lilly and McRae adds a layer of physical evidence to these haunting encounters. Could this sound be the operation of a hidden device, or perhaps the entity's own strange biology? John Keel often explored how these sensory triggers manipulate our perception of the paranormal world. Whether in West Virginia or the Scottish Highlands, the clicking remains a chilling and undeniable constant. It transforms a simple sighting into a full-body experience that lingers long after the lights come on. We must wonder if the clicking is a final warning or simply the sound of a door opening. When the clicking starts, the boundary between our world and the unknown begins to dissolve entirely. But the Grinning Man isn't just an American phenomenon appearing on lonely rural highways. This eerie mystery crosses oceans, finding a new and terrifying home in the rugged Scottish Highlands. Mary Elizabeth McRae lived with her husband, Alan, on the desolate outskirts of Dunkel, Scotland. Their quiet cottage sat nestled near the vast and ancient expanse of Cairngorms National Park. It was a place of extreme isolation, with their nearest neighbor living nearly a mile away. On the cold, dark night of November 23, 1972, that silence was about to be broken. Mary suddenly woke in the dead of night, finding her body frozen in a terrifying grip. She discovered she was completely paralyzed, her chest feeling heavy as she struggled to breathe. Through the suffocating silence, a rhythmic clicking sound began to echo around the small, dark bedroom. Mary's eyes darted toward the window, where a horrifying figure stared back from the midnight darkness. A pale face with dark, beady eyes was pressed firmly against the cold, exterior glass. Most disturbing of all was the wide, malevolent grin stretched across the stranger's uncanny features. She felt like a fish in an aquarium, trapped while something hungry watched from the outside. Then, the laws of gravity seemed to fail, as Mary felt her body begin to lift. She reported the impossible sensation of floating upward, drifting slowly toward that malevolent face. It was as if she were being drawn into the glass by a mysterious, unseen force. What is more terrifying, the man in the room, or the man staring through the glass? While some might dismiss this as sleep paralysis, the physical details suggest a more external threat. In the realm of ufology, these bedroom visitations often signal a much deeper and stranger encounter. The Grinning Man had moved from the roads of West Virginia to the windows of Scotland. Mary carried the heavy weight of this silent, grinning spectator for the rest of her life. Mary McCrae finally passed away in 2013 at the remarkable age of 94 years old. She took that haunting secret with her for decades, never forgetting the face in the glass. Her story leaves us to wonder if a grin can truly be a mask for something malevolent. Is it possible for the same mysterious entity to appear in two places at once? From the prowlers of Massachusetts to the abductees of Italy. The name remains: Indred Cold. Between late 1966 and early 1967, a new terror began haunting the streets of Provincetown. Residents reported a tall, muscular man wandering their neighborhoods with a disturbing, fixed grin. This muscular stranger mirrored the sightings in West Virginia, yet he was hundreds of miles away. Like a virus of high strangeness, the legend of the Grinning Man was spreading rapidly. How could a salesman in West Virginia and a man in Italy name the same being? The name Indred Cold, first mentioned by Woodro Darrenburgger, began to echo across international borders. In December 1979, the mystery crossed the Atlantic to find a new witness in Italy. Pier Zanfita claimed he was contacted by a smiling man who called himself Indred Cold. This encounter added a bizarre new layer to the already strange world of modern ufology. Zanfita was no stranger to the unknown, allegedly possessing a history of reptilian alien abductions. Witnesses wondered if Indred Cold was a new type of entity, separate from the Men in Black. Back in America, Woodro Darrenburger's accounts were becoming even more complex and deeply unsettling. Darrenburger claimed he was being visited by other grinning men named Demo Hassan and Cut. These strange visitors seemed to bridge the gap between human reality and something far more alien. But these encounters with the Grinning Man came at a heavy price for the Darrenburger family. Following these visits, the strain became too much, and Woodrow and his wife eventually divorced. Are there multiple versions of Cold, or just one who cannot be contained by our borders? Researchers like John Keel began to wonder if these entities were linked to the Mothman. Every new report seemed to blur the lines between sleep paralysis and physical, waking nightmares. The Grinning Man was no longer a local myth. He had become a global investigation. This entity was appearing to ordinary people, leaving a trail of broken lives and questions. The name Indred Cold linked Point Pleasant to the rest of the world through a dark thread. But as the names of witnesses multiplied, so did the skepticism surrounding these impossible stories. Could the strange grin of Indred Cold really stretch all the way across the Atlantic Ocean? To find the answer, we must travel to the cold, winter landscape of Italy in 1979. A man named Pier Zanfita claimed he encountered a figure that would haunt his life forever. During a chilly December night, Zanfita reported a meeting with a being who called himself Indred Cold. This name was identical to the entity Woodro Darrenburger encountered thousands of miles away in West Virginia. The coincidence shocked ufology researchers who had long followed the strange reports from Point Pleasant. But Zanfita's story added a terrifying new layer to the mystery that John Keel once investigated. He didn't just see a man in a metallic suit. He spoke of far more alien origins. Zanfita allegedly possessed a long and disturbing history of abduction by strange, reptilian alien beings. These skilled creatures stood in sharp contrast to the human-looking man who wore that eerie, frozen smile. How could a simple man from Italy share the exact same name as a rural American witness? It suggests that Indred Cold is not just a legend, but a recurring traveler between our worlds. Skeptics might point to sleep paralysis, but the physical details Zanfita provided were far too specific. His descriptions mirrored the tight one-piece suits often associated with the most mysterious men in black cases. This connection between Italy and America proves that the Grinning Man phenomenon is a global enigma. Whether it was Mothman's companion or something darker, the entity known as Cold remains active. Zanfeta's experiences suggest that the Grinning Man might act as an intermediary for even stranger forces. The reptilian connection hints at a complex hierarchy hidden within the shadows of our own reality. We are left wondering if Woodro Darrenburgger and Pierre Zanfita met the exact same interdimensional tribe. Each new report from around the globe only deepens the mystery of who Indred Cold really is. The chilling smile of Italy matches the eerie gaze felt on those dark West Virginia highways. Could these sightings be part of a larger plan, orchestrated by entities beyond our understanding? The Grinning Man's footprint in Italy suggests that nobody, anywhere, is truly safe from his visit. As we look closer at these accounts, the distinction between alien and urban legend begins to blur. Indred Cold remains a phantom figure, smiling through the glass of history at those who dare watch. Whenever we talk about the Grinning Man, one name always appears in the margins: John Keel. We have to ask, are these witnesses seeing the same man, or just reading the same book? John Keel was the first to write about the Elizabetha, New Jersey, and West Virginia sightings. His investigative books introduced the world to the unsettling grin of the stranger named Indred Cold. Before Keel documented these accounts, the Grinning Man was an isolated, local whisper in the dark. Through his writing, Keel connected these disparate events into a single, terrifying narrative of high strangeness. He acted like a director casting the same haunting villain across every chapter of his research. Remember the two boys from New Jersey who first described that tall, bald, and grinning figure? Keel was the one who tied their encounter directly to the legendary events in Point Pleasant. He sought out Woodro Darrenburgger to hear the bizarre story of a visitor from another world. As these stories spread through his books, a new question began to haunt the growing community. Did John Keel discover the Grinning Man, or did he inadvertently help to create him? Once a monster is given a name and a face, it begins to live in the imagination. Is it possible that subsequent reports were merely copycat accounts, inspired by Keel's widely read publications? In the world of ufology, a compelling story can often become its own brand of reality. Some argue that the legend of Indred Cold is actually a symptom of collective human psychology. Like the Men in Black, the Grinning Man became a recurring archetype in our modern folklore. Skeptics suggest that readers might have projected Keel's descriptions onto their own frightening, unexplained experiences. Even instances of sleep paralysis could be filtered through the lens of the stories we consume. Yet, can a simple story become so powerful that it begins to manifest in the real world? Keel's influence on the Mothman legend ensures his name is forever linked to these metallic-suited strangers. He turned a series of local sightings into a global mystery that refuses to be solved. Whether a master observer or a brilliant storyteller, Keel shaped our vision of the Grinning Man. We must consider if the witnesses were truly seeing the same entity across different decades. If it is a complete fabrication, it is one that remains terrifyingly consistent across the years. Then there is the final, most unsettling theory that challenges everything we believe about these monsters. Is the Grinning Man his own master, or is he just one mask worn by something ancient? Are we seeing different monsters, or just different versions of the same terrifying, elusive thing? Some fringe theorists suggest a deeper, darker connection between these legendary entities and our modern world. They believe the Grinning Man and Indred Cold are merely shadows of a single, unknown race. This mysterious group might include the winged terror known to Point Pleasant as the infamous Mothman. Imagine these creatures as two sides of the same counterfeit coin, deceptive and hauntingly strange. Within ufology, these entities are often viewed as shape-shifting aliens, distinct from the classic Men in Black. These beings might shed their skin like a serpent to walk among us in many different forms. They shift their appearance to suit the fears of whatever witness happens to cross their path. John Keel often hinted that these phenomena were linked by a shared, otherworldly and ancient source. The strange encounter Woodro Darrenburgger described might have been a performance for an unsuspecting human audience. Perhaps the metallic suit and the giant wings are just props in a much larger cosmic play. A curious pattern emerges when we track the specific dates these visitors choose to manifest themselves. Reported sightings of the Grinning Man often clustered during the transition between the winter and spring. Why do they only appear when the leaves fall and the first flowers begin to bloom? There is a specific window of time when the veil between our worlds seems particularly thin. As the frost bites and the earth wakes, these visitors step out from the cold shadows. This seasonal preference suggests a biological or perhaps even a ritualistic cycle for their mysterious visits. They seem to favor the quiet, lonely months when the world is draped in thick gray. They watch us from the edge of the woods during the long, dark nights of late February. Their presence is a chilling reminder that we may never truly understand their strange, cosmic origins. Whether they are flesh or spirit, the mystery of their shared identity remains completely unsolved today. And as the seasons change once more, the eerie, frozen grin begins to slowly fade away. The world returns to normal, but the memory of that unnatural smile lingers in the cold air. They retreat back into the darkness, waiting for the cycle to begin again in the next year. Until the next winter frost, we are left only with questions and a heavy sense of dread. We may never know who Indred Cold really is, or what his strange presence truly signifies. The mystery of the Grinning Man remains a haunting puzzle that defies every logic we possess. He is like a shadow that does not need a flicker of light to exist in our world. From the rural roads of West Virginia to the busy streets of Italy, his smile persists. Was Woodro Darrenburgger's life changed by a visitor from the stars or something far more ancient? John Keel believed these entities were ultra-terrestrials, blending seamlessly into the background of our everyday lives. They are the silent architects of our nightmares, lurking just beyond the edge of our perception. The legend of the Mothman and the metallic suit are now burned into our collective memory forever. But as the years pass, the sightings of that wide, frozen grin show no sign of stopping. It is a phenomenon that adapts, shifting its shape to match the evolving fears of each generation. Perhaps the Grinning Man isn't just an urban legend found in old books and dusty files. He might be a constant observer, a witness to the human experience from some unseen vantage point. Is he watching you right now, hidden behind the mundane details of your very own room? Have you ever seen that fixed grin reflected in a dark window when you were alone? The clicking sound that precedes his arrival is a warning most people realize far too late. It is the rhythmic prelude to a horror that defies description and leaves no physical trace. This entity doesn't care if you believe in him or if you think he is just a myth. He thrives in the uncertainty and the cold sweat that breaks when the lights go out. The next time you are lying in bed and hear a clicking sound in the dark, whatever you do, please do not look toward the foot of the bed tonight. The shadows might be playing tricks, or they might be holding a very real, grinning guest. We leave you with the chilling thought that some doors, once opened, can never be closed. Sleep well tonight, if you can, knowing that Indred Cold might still be out there.